All rise, please.
Good morning, everyone. Please join me for O Canada, followed by a moment of quiet contemplation. Nice brisk morning out there. Actually had to turn the defrost on for the first time on the way in. And so first I'll do a roll call.
Thank you, Warden. Good morning. All members of council are in attendance with the exception of Councillor McClellan is currently absent, and you have your quorum. Thank you very much.
So I've just got approval of the agenda for the council meeting. Councillor Dolan.
Thank you, Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Coughlin that the agenda for September the 9th, 2025 meeting of County Council be approved.
Pretty light agenda on the council agenda this morning. Any questions or comments? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Do I have a disclosure of pecuniary interest by any member of council? If you find yourself in that situation later, please declare it at that time. Presentations and delegations, we have none. And consent agenda. Councillor Burkett, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Worship. Through you, moved by myself, second by Councillor Norcross, that the Council communications and proclamations August the 12th, 2025 to September the 8th, 2025 have been given due to consideration be received.
Is there any questions on the consent agenda? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Adoption of council minutes and confirmation of committee reports. Deputy Warden Coughlin, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Good morning. And moved by myself, second by Councillor Locke, that following council minutes be confirmed and adopted. Joint County Council Committee of the Whole minutes, August 12th, 2025, and Joint County Council and Committee of the Whole confidential minutes, August 12th, 2025.
Any questions arising from the minutes? Clarifications? Not seeing any. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Presentations and considerations, committee whole report, we have none, and presentations of special committee reports, none. County officers reports, none, and notices of motions and motions of which, can't talk this morning, folks, motions of which notice have been given, we have none, and no closed session. Consideration of the bills, we have none. So announcements. Chair Measures, I believe you had some announcements.
Well, thank you very much, Your Worship. This announcement actually is perhaps a little more personal, but I wanted to bring to the attention of the House and perhaps anyone who is hearing my voice at this time that September is Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. And I would encourage all men to work with their family doctor to get a PSA test. It's an important part of diagnosing prostate cancer. And as part of this, I also wanted to recognize, if I may, that it was 3 years ago yesterday that I was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and I appreciate all of the support that this House has offered to me over the last 3 years, and I can report that I'm doing quite well. So thank you very much for letting me speak to that, but I also think it's important that all men and women who have men in their lives to consider having a PSA test and consult with their doctors about this. It is a disease that can be corrected and can be successful. So I just wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Very happy to see you're doing well. Councillor Van Staveren.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Two quick announcements, or one quick announcement. First of all, the positive side, we have the Great Northern Exhibition coming a weekend from now, September 19th, 20th, and 21st. And the theme this year is Blue Jeans and Country Dreams, and it's going to be a tremendous fair, as it always is. And I know a lot of people, including our family, has been very involved in getting it going. So we welcome everybody up to that. Now, I don't know if a lot of people have heard the news or starting to hear or heard the news lately. We got a situation in Clearview that's being put on us because of the Department of National Defense, and that is called OTH, Over the Horizon Radar Detection System. Now, what it's in the new initiative of the federal government is to be spending money, but also preparation for the protection of our northern Arctic regions and beyond. So we sort of got, I won't say blindsided. The Department of Defense has already bought one farm in Clearview Township of 700 acres, 200 acres in the Minising Swamp, and 500 acres of farmland. We were finally briefed yesterday, and so this is coming on very quickly, that they could want up to 4,000 acres in our community. And I say our community, it could extend even into Springwater. So our neighbors to the east will be hearing more and more about this as well. It's something that we all recognize as positive in terms of what we need for national security, but what it will do to our community and our farmers and homesteads is rather significant. When you think 4,000 acres and the potential of closing roads, leveling land, one of the original sites or the sending sites is going to be in Kawartha Lakes region. They'll be dealing with radiation and the likes. It's a significant impact on our community. We were fortunate to have Rob Elliott attend with us our meeting yesterday in regards to the effects to Simcoe County as well. For an announcement point of view, there is a meeting tomorrow at 2 o'clock and a meeting at 7 o'clock at the station on the green in Creemore. So if you're interested, if you let anybody ask you any questions, the briefing will start with that. Our meeting yesterday, the DND was very, I won't say evasive, but they're not giving specific reasons, and a lot of the questions were unanswered. But anyways, as long as people are aware, this is coming to our area and it will be significant. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Evans, or did you want to follow up on that? Just a minute, Councillor Measures.
Yes, thank you very much, Your Worship, and to my colleague, Councillor Van Staveren and Deputy Mayor of Clearview, he's absolutely right. It is a troubling situation, and yet, as the Deputy Mayor said, that we all want to do our part to support the Canadian defense of our northern regions in our country. The economic impact of losing these farmlands could be quite significant. So this meeting that's happening on Wednesday, again, is in Creemore. They will be there to make a presentation, answer some questions that they can, but I suspect there will be more meetings and more questions unanswered because as they shared with us, some of the information is classified. So we are in a situation where we want to be supportive, but we are unable to really speak our minds, I suppose. So nevertheless, it's a difficult time, and I would hope that members of Simcoe County would understand that losing this significant farmland will have a giant economic impact to our community, and I'm disappointed in how this has played out. But nevertheless, we will see how the meeting goes on Wednesday. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Evans.
Thank you, Your Worship. This Sunday marks the 45th anniversary of Terry Fox Day. Terry Fox Day in heart of Georgian Bay will be taking place on Sunday, September 14th at 9 a.m. in Perkinsfield, Ontario. We have a 2K, a 5K, a 10K route. You can walk, you can run, you can walk backwards, you can bicycle, you can take your dog like I do, whatever you like to do. And we call on everybody to participate in this event. We're particularly proud in Heart of Georgian Bay, made up of myself in Tiny Township, Tay Township, the town of Midland, and the town of Penetang. Over the last 45 years, we've raised over $2.8 million towards cancer research efforts in North Simcoe. And on a cumulative level across the country, over $990 million has been raised throughout Canada and the world. I think this is a really interesting and a very engaging public event that really requires no effort other than you showing up, participating, having fun. We have band, we have food, we have donations, there's pizza. It's a great event, and it's a way for you to help not just your neighbors, but your whole community in a very low cost and easy engage method for all ages. So highly encourage anybody that has the time Sunday morning to show up and meet with us in Perkinsfield and the Heart of Georgian Bay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Prost, I'm sorry.
I just want to let everybody know that tomorrow night, Wednesday, September 10th, the snowbirds are going to be visiting Midland Harbor. So it'll be starting at 5 o'clock. So come visit our beautiful town. Stay for dinner.
Thank you. Councillor McDonald.
Thank you, Warden. Just as we're going on what our colleagues have spoke about today about cancers, there's also Childhood Cancer Month also in September. So in ESSA, we did the proclamation and raised the flag. So we have lots of events that could support each and every one of these causes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bell.
It's a Ramona Fall Fair this weekend, starting on Friday night with horseshoes, horse pulls on Saturday.
Always a fun time. Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Your Worship. A little further out, but October 4th and 5th in Wasaga Beach at the Sports Park at 1888 Klondike Park Road will be our first annual Mayor's Rodeo. And let me be very clear, I'm not riding anything. But it's going to be... It's going to be 2 days of fun-filled rodeo with the Ram Rodeo, and this is right near the end of their finals, so it should be some real exciting times. And on the Saturday night, there's also a dance afterwards for an extra $20. And it's also the same weekend in the same location as our annual Hootenanny, which is a free event to folks to bring out the kids. There's jumpy castles and whatnot throughout the day as well there. So it should be a great time, and hope to see everyone out.
Absolutely would have cleared my schedule, sir, if you were riding a bull or something. Councillor Norcross.
Thank you, Worship. I know it's a really busy weekend, and I would have loved to have come and seen that, actually. Anyhow, this weekend's the Beaton Fall Fair, but just for the big attraction Sunday, we still have a smash-up derby. We're one of the few left in Ontario, Canada that still have them, so thank you.
They're a lot of fun. Councillor Leduc.
Just want to also say that on September 28th, Bradford Gumbury, in partnership with King, are doing a flotilla parade on the canal. It's the 100th anniversary of the canal, the Hollomarsh Canal. It was the brainchild of Professor William Day and Watson and Fraser. So we wanted to celebrate that, the 100th anniversary. It's been an economic boom for Ontario and for Canada. 65% of the carrots grown in this area are shipped across this country. So just wanted to let everybody know that we have a 100th anniversary flotilla starting September 28th from our Portuguese Culture Center. Come join us, get your kayaks, canoes. We're going down the canal and we're going to go around an island. We're going to name an island while we're there and have some fun that day. So it's a fun day. Thanks.
I think I saw Councillor Snell and then Councillor Greenlaw.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, it's amazing how many wonderful events we have in Simcoe County. But just to add to that, this weekend is the Wasaga Beach Blues Festival. It's 3 days of music extravaganza. Kicks off Friday night at 5 o'clock at Stonebridge, our town center. On Friday night, there's a Zepp show. So if you're a Led Zeppelin fan, that's one to check out. And closes that night with the Blushing Brides, for anybody that remembers that iconic band. It's a fully licensed event and runs rain or shine, so we'd love to see you there.
Thank you. Councillor Greenlaw.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. I just want to let everyone know this is the 171st Oral World Fair this Friday, Saturday, truck pull on Friday night and tractor pull. And then and we have a smash 'em up derby as well, concluding the fair Saturday afternoon.
Okay, it's going to be a busy schedule. If you folks be kind enough to send the emails to me and I will get it fit in wherever I can and make as many of these as I possibly can. Thank you. If there's no further announcements, I'm seeing none. I will look for the confirmatory bylaw with Councillor Norcross.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, second by Councillor Burkett, the bill number 7144-25 be enacted as a bylaw of the County of Simcoe. Thank you, Your Worship.
On the confirmatory bylaw, can't imagine any questions. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And now a mover to that the September 9th, 2025 meeting of County Council be adjourned at 9:16. Moved by Councillor Fowler, second by Councillor Michael Smith. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Now our next meeting will be Tuesday, September 23rd. So now I'll look to bring our city reps in and then we'll get right into committee of the whole.
There's I don't mean to complain, but do you think we could have some heat?
Can we?
Sorry, it's kind of cool in here. I don't know if anybody else finds it cool in here. I'm sorry.
We'll get a word through to maintenance. Yep. You know, it's funny you say that, Judith, because the last meeting we had when the Zoom meeting, all of a sudden the heater came on when we're sitting in here and Jonathan and I thought we were going to melt right during that heat wave. I don't know what was going on. Okay, looks like our city reps are here, so I'll call the meeting to order and I'll look for a roll call from my clerk, Jonathan.
Thank you again, Warden. So in addition to those members in attendance at council, we're joined by the city reps. Aurelia Councillor Durnford is absent. Aurelia Councillor Fallis is absent. We're joined by Aurelia Mayor McIsaac. Barrie Councillor Nagusi, as well as Barrie Councillor Ruetma are present. And finally, Barrie Mayor Nuttall is absent, and you have your quorum. Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, I'll look for approval of the agenda. Councillor Dolan.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Locke, seconded by Councillor Van Staveren, that the agenda for September 9th, 2025 meeting of Committee of the Whole be approved.
Thank you. A couple things on the agenda. In the in-camera items, I have two here. So 13.1, it's in our in-camera because that's how it was sent to us, but now it's public knowledge. So if council feels, I would need a motion to bring it out of camera. If I'm not, then we can leave it in there and we'll go with that. The other is Councillor Cabral.
I'm sorry, I may have misunderstood what you just said, Warden. Would you please repeat it?
13.1 of the in-camera. We have it in camera because that's how it was sent to us, but it is now public knowledge. So, and it's been released by the local township. So if council wished to bring it out of in camera, I would need a motion to do so.
Warden, I'd be happy to make that motion. That is now a public document, as is the summary. So I don't feel there's a need to have it in camera anymore.
All right, moved by Councillor Corbell, second by Deputy Warden Coughlin. So all in favor of moving that item out? It'll be at the end of the agenda. That is carried. Thank you. We're going to make a clarification here. Yes.
Yeah, so Warden, just to be very clear, that's to move Closed session item 13.1, confidential correspondence dated July 30th, 2025 from the Township of Springwater regarding real property matters, and that be moved to and considered an open session, and that the related correspondence be made public in the September 9th, 2025 Committee of the Whole report. And that was moved by Councillor Cabral and seconded by Councillor Coghlan and voted on.
My mover and seconder fine with the wording of that motion? Getting the nods, yes? Okay, so that was carried. And next I have 13.3.
The agenda as amended.
Oh, well, when I get to it, 13.3, is there any, the Aurelia councillor, if that item wants to be discussed by anybody here, we'll move it to after Human Services. Does anybody feel the need to discuss 13.3 of the in-camera item? So then we will leave it where it is on the agenda, but that one would come after Human Services if a councillor felt so. So now we need to approve the agenda as amended. All right. And that was moved by Locks and Stavern. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And we'll note those changes. Do I have a disclosure of pecuniary interest by any member of council? Not seeing any. Again, if you find yourself in that situation later, please declare it at that time. So I will start with Chair Measures. If you would do Human Services, please.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. Committee, the section here is the Human Services, and there are only one item on our consent item. It is CCW 2025-2020. It's in regards to the Paramedic Driving Enhancement Program. At this time, I'd like to ask GM Sinclair if she would like to add a comment about the Driving Enhancement Program. As when I read the report, I was quite impressed. So perhaps General Manager Sinclair, you could comment on it?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're very excited to bring council an update on this new driver training program specific to paramedic services. As you can see by the report, our paramedics travel over 3 million kilometers a year. And when our team did a review of the existing training, there is some modest training in the actual paramedic services curriculum program. However, there is nothing across Canada that is specific to paramedic services. So they've worked, it's a great collaboration. They've worked with Canada Safety Council and in conjunction with paramedic services from Hamilton to develop our very own, very specific emergency vehicle training program for paramedic services. So it includes in classroom as well as in vehicle components. The driver training component is in partnership with Canada Forces Base Borden, another great partnership. So all new recruits moving forward will be required to undertake this new training program so that they really feel confident when they hit the road in their new role with the County of Simcoe. I will look to our Director-in-Chief, Sarah Mills, for any additional comments, but we're very pleased. This is something our Ontario Association of Paramedic Chiefs are looking at rolling out across the entire province. So with that, I'll pass it to our Director-in-Chief.
Chief Mills, go right ahead.
Through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just to add on to what General Manager Sinclair was saying is we're just really hoping that this program as brought in-house will increase the safety of our staff, increase the safety in the community, and really look at how our ambulances are received kind of in the community as they drive through it, and also this, like our staff being safe while they're driving. And we're just really excited about having this as a one-of-a-kind program. We're very proud to have it here in Simcoe County, and we start actually in mid-September teaching all of our staff. We're going to be doing our annual continuing education, and everyone's going to come out to Borden, and they're going to go through this, myself included. So our leadership team right down to our frontline staff, everyone will be involved, and we're really hoping to see some reductions in minor accidents and any injuries that happen in the community or to our staff. So we're very, very excited about this program.
Mr. Chair, if I can add one additional component, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the related initiative. We're working with Service Simcoe, Corporate Communications to develop a move over program. Again, this is based on awareness of emergency vehicles and the need to move over when a vehicle's approaching with lights and sirens. So we're really looking at increasing awareness overall to the needs of our emergency vehicles. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you for all the great work that the drivers of our paramedic vehicles do every day. And I'm quite confident, Chief Mills, that you will do well in your examination too. So good luck. This is a great program, and thank you, General Manager Sinclair. I do have a question from Dave. Do you have something you want to add, Mr. Evans?
Chair, if I could, just a brief comment, just to reiterate and on your earlier comments. Frankly, I'm really surprised that we haven't had training, and I'm not blaming anybody. The responsibility that goes along with not just driving a vehicle like that, that's transcending regular driver laws and going through intersections and what you put yourself through, and then the added pressure, of course, of having people's lives in your responsibility. And I'm really happy that you have this training moving forward. I think that anything we can do to give our staff and confidence, and the public confidence as well. And I'd just like to build on as well your comment that the General Manager just mentioned in terms of people pulling over. And I still see on myself when I'm driving down the highway that people on the side of the road, that nobody pulls over, nobody pulls away from the right if somebody's on the side. Flashing green lights for those of us that have volunteer fire department, things like that. So any efforts we can make to reiterate with the province and with the OPP, I know they're big, strong supporters of it, that we can do to educate the public. And just again, thank you very much, Director Mills, for everything you're doing. And it sounds like a great course. It sounds like a lot of fun, actually. And but probably something that's well needed, and I'm sure will be very valuable to the community. Thank you.
Good comments. Thank you very much. We're going to open the floor to questions. Councillor Brian Smith has something.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think, it goes without saying that this just shows, again, the County of Simcoe leading the way in, making things better in the life of our residents. And kudos to Chief Mills and her team. The one thing she indicated that even herself was going to take this course, and that just shows clear leadership on behalf of her and the leadership team at the Simcoe County Paramedic Services. We often hear of these courses and training that is available, but you don't often hear that the people at the very top are doing that, so as that they have a very clear understanding of what the people, the boots on the ground doing the job every day, day in and day out, are doing. And so congratulations to Chief Mills and her team for that. When they're operating these vehicles, to Chair Evans' point, often heightened situations where adrenaline is pumping, not only of the attendant in the back with the patient, but with the driver as well. Someone's life is in their hands. And so I am so happy to have read this report and to know that we're moving forward this. As shocked as Chair Evans was as well, though, that we didn't have more training, not only for paramedics, but fire maybe as well. I know police have training in their, at the beginning of their training for defensive driving and so on. But this is just a great thing. And again, Simcoe County leading the way, our paramedic services second to none. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good comments. Thank you very much. Are there other questions or comments from the floor? I'm looking at you, Councillor Rawson, knowing that you have driven one of these buses in the past. So good job. Okay. All right. Then at this time, I'll ask for the mover and seconder. I noticed Councillor Neguse had indicated, and perhaps Councillor Rawson, would you like to second it? Thank you very much. That the following consent items having been given due consideration be received. Any further? All those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you very much. Going to move to Human Services, Housing and Homelessness Services. At this time, we have report CCW 2025-235. This is confirmed funding allocations for the Canadian Ontario Housing Initiative and the Ontario Priorities Housing Initiative. GM Fayez Baguette, do you have a comment you'd like to bring to support your recommendation?
Yes, Chair Measures. So through you, Chair, this is our annual allocations for both provincial programs that assist with creating more affordable housing and or maintaining the housing stock that we already have. The two programs are used in conjunction historically. Speaking, one of them is growing while the other one is decreasing over time. For us, there's obviously specific guidelines for each. So what we're presenting today is a strategy that allows us to invest strategically in our capital net new supply creation. We have qualifying projects that are in flight now, including a project in Collingwood, which is a modular 34 unit development that came to council about two cycles ago, as well as some of the work that we've broken ground on at Rose Street, and then some key opportunities to convert current existing structures to create more supportive housing. The second program, this one is more focused on services and supports and smaller programs. So that one we're strategically investing in things like supportive services. So the operating dollars that would be needed for the net new space that we're creating that comes with assisted living and different types of services to try to address the most vulnerable, as well as continuing programs for those who are entering home ownership with down payments on new homes. So this is a program that the county continued beyond the provincial program and continues to invest in that as well as both programs come with administrative dollars that you have the discretion to use. We're using them to maximize the cost of operating the programs from the staffing model and to try to reduce as much of the impact on the 25 and 26 budgets, which you'll see in the next few months as well.
All right. Thank you very much, General Manager. Questions from the floor. We'll start with Councillor Leduc, then Fryer. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And in regards to this program, I'm glad that we got this funding and it's out to 2028, but I was looking more for new housing stock. I know what you just spoke about, and I'm concerned the southern portion of the county is suffering with some of the highest rental costs in the whole of the county. So just looking to see if there's an opportunity to, and I see that, a lot of it is allocated already, but I'm hoping that in the 27-28 plan, there might be some opportunity for some new housing stock. Both programs buy into that where it's new supply. So looking for some opportunity to see if there's extra opportunities to fund some affordable ability in the southern portion of the county, because we've got new developments going on right now. And I think I spoke with you a little bit on it yesterday. There is new buildings going up in some of the areas of the south, and looking to see if we can purchase some stock in those buildings. Being brand new, meaning that we wouldn't have any real cost to manage those over the next few years. So I think it's something that I hope that we look into, and we can provide some affordability in the southern portion of the county. So that's my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Did you have a comment you wanted to? No. Okay, thank you. Councillor Fryer then, and I'm looking for others.
Thank you, Chair Measures. And I was pleased to see the substantial funding. So wanted to express appreciation to staff and through General Manager Fayez-Begat for your successful funding application. As initially put forward to the House, the Birch Street project that was much needed would meet the federal and provincial requirements. So congratulations on the funding, and much appreciated at Collingwood.
Excellent. Good comments. Is there any other questions or comments? All right, then I will look for a mover and seconder to put this on the floor. Leduc, thank you. Is the mover. Is there a seconder? Mr. Bell, thank you. And the recommendation is that item CCW 2025-235, dated September the 9th, 2025, regarding the 2025-2026 confirmed funding allocations for Canada, Ontario Community Housing Initiatives, Ontario Priority Housing Initiative, and the expansion target be received, and that the communications that generally outlined in item CCW 2025-235 be approved, and that staff amend the investment plan as may be required to avoid any loss of funds as generally outlined in CCW 2025-235. Nothing further? I'll call the question. All those in favor? And that also carries unanimous. Thank you. There is one item underneath other matters for consideration for today's agenda. The Simcoe County Simcoe County Hospice Alliance funding request is in front of us. It's a pretty good report. General Manager Sinclair, do you have any comments you'd like to add to the report?
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Just a final comment. In the report, we indicated this is the final year of the 5-year funding program. We did meet with the Hospice Alliance last week just to ascertain their future planning needs. There was a announcement this past year for 80 new beds across the province. All 5 of the hospice organizations have some level of planning for future beds and have submitted approvals. However, it is a longer term planning process. So we will be meeting again next year just to evaluate. There's been no formal approvals. There's been 1 verbal approval for Hospice Simcoe for 2 additional beds within the next 3 years. However, the remaining hospices are still in that planning mode. So we will provide more information next year to County Council. Thank you.
Thank you so much, GM Sinclair. Are there any questions to the report or comments from the floor? All right, seeing none, I'll look for the mover and seconder. Is there a mover? Councillor McDonald, I see, and Councillor Cabral. Thank you. The recommendation is that CCW 2025-221, dated September the 9th, 2025, regarding the Simcoe County Hospice Alliance funding request be received, and that the Simcoe County Hospice Alliance capital funding allocation for 2024, as outlined in CCW 2025-221, be approved. Any further questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? That carries unanimous. Thank you. Your Worship, I can turn the chair back over to you in regards to the question you raised earlier in regards to confidential item 13-3. So I'll turn the chair to you for this further discussion. Thank you.
Thank you. And one more call. Does anybody need to discuss item 13.3 from the in-camera? And we would go in at that time if anybody wishes. I'm not seeing so then I'll thank the city reps and we will head into our corporate. It's still early, so why don't we head into corporate services with Chair Dolan.
Thank you, thank you, Warden. So the first item is item 8.1, which is the report on upper tier CIPs. Questions or comments from the floor on this recommendation or report? Seeing none, could I ask for a mover and a seconder, please, for the recommendation as printed? Councillor Lavoie and Deputy Warden Coghlan, that item CCW 2025-225 dated September the 9th, 2025, regarding the County of Simcoe becoming a prescribed community improvement plan CIP upper tier municipality be received, and that the warden write a letter to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing requesting an amendment to Ontario Reg 221-07 to add the County of Simcoe as a prescribed upper tier municipality authorized to prepare a CIP. All those in favor? That is carried. Are there any, there's one item for other matters for consideration, and that is item 9.1, which is the Economic Development Subcommittee report dated August the 12th. Questions or comments on that item? Thank you. So I apologize, I have 2, so we'll do them each separately. So first, the Economic Development Committee. Any comments or questions on that? Seeing none, could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Moved by Councillor Cox, seconded by Councillor Fowler, that the recommendations contained within the Economic Development Subcommittee report dated August the 12th, 2025 be approved. All those in favor? That is carried. And next is the Planning Advisory Committee meeting. Questions or comments on that? Seeing none, a mover and a seconder, please. Councillor Anderson and Councillor Michael Smith, that the recommendations contained within the Planning Advisory Committee report dated August the 26th, 2025 be approved. All those in favor? That is carried. And I'll turn it back to you if there's no other matters for consideration. Thank you, Warden.
Right. I guess I will go on to performance management. Chair Evans.
Thank you, Your Worship. Morning, everybody. Consent items for performance management. We have two today. CCW 2025-243 with regards to the Association of Municipalities of Ontario Conference of 2025, where a number of us participated. And the second item is item 10.2, which is a letter dated August 21st, 2025, from the Ombudsman of Ontario regarding closed meeting complaint. Can I have a mover and a seconder to kick off discussion, please? Councillor Norcross, seconded by Councillor Laux. Thank you very much. Any comments or questions on these items? Councillor Dolan, please.
Thank you, Chair Evans. I just wanted to take a moment and ask any of those who attended and those who didn't attend the AMO conference this year. They were doing a survey to get comments back from people on different things that could be done to improve or change, and also a more general survey on how the board is performing in your opinion and any gaps into what advocacy we should be working on. So I would encourage you to fill out either of those forms. We've already gotten quite a bit of feedback about the Bear Pit Ministers Forum. So I think you'll see we'll be mixing that up a bit for next year, but anything else or any comments you've got on things you'd like to see changed, please make sure you fill out your survey. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Dolan. Personally, very much enjoyed the Bear Pit situation. I was actually going over to say hi to Minister Calandra when he just got interviewed. So I got a front row seat to Sorry, any other comments or questions with regards to these consent items? We have a mover and a seconder. The motion is that the following consent items haven't been given due consideration be received. All those in favor? Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Moving on to Section 11. I'm pleased this morning to we have an interesting discussion with regards to multi-residential property tax subclass. We're joined by Peter Fries, Vice President, and we all know Peter from the Vice President of Corporate and Client Services and Municipal Tax Equity Consultants, who's going to provide a presentation for us. But prior to that, General Manager Wilcox, if there's anything you'd like to add, and introduce Peter for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chair. As you said, Peter is with us today. Will outline his presentation. From Peter's presentation, you have a report in front of you that outlines much of the same information with recommendations, and Peter can speak to those as well. Thank you.
Thank you. It's horrible March driving when I usually come, so this is great. We are going to talk about the multi-residential subclasses today.
Excuse me. Could you move the microphone closer to you?
Sorry.
You're moving around quite a bit. Thank you.
Sorry. Yep. We're going to talk about the multi-residential subclasses today, and these are fairly new. Just to ground us what we're talking about. The multi-residential property class includes properties that have residential buildings with 7 or more self-contained units. So that's a unit you can sleep, cook, live, and bathe in, not dormitories, not condominiums. These are consolidated buildings. Also vacant land that's zoned for multi-residential development. And the new multi-residential class, which is sort of a non-class now in Simcoe because your tax ratios are treated exactly the same, was simply a preferential treatment for properties that were built under a building permit issued after the spring of 2017. So those are really the same ratios. The new multi-residential municipal discount subclass, we did speak about this in March. This was introduced in 2024. It's a fairly blunt tool in that it allows the county, and I'm just going to make a quick clarification here because I know there were some questions about it. I use the language a little loosely. When we talk about municipality in any of this context, we're talking about the county. The county sets the class structure and the discounts. So when I use municipality, it's because I just slip. So it's we're talking about the county here, applies countywide. So the 2024 subclass, the earlier one, was fairly indiscriminate. It just gave anybody who built a property preferential treatment. And unlike when the new multi-res came in, where you were at 1 and your multi-res was higher and you were able to equalize that, that wouldn't be possible. So there's some
some policy concerns, some equity issues with the design of that particular subclass, which I'll touch on a bit later as well. The new subclasses were introduced. These are much more strategic. These are more targeted. They were introduced subsequent to us meeting in March. So we haven't talked about them before. But the eligibility for these subclasses is based on meeting very strict affordability criteria for the units. And it's actually a unit by unit basis. So if you had a building that was half market, half geared to income, the building might be split. So it's, which is not unusual for buildings and properties in Ontario to have two classes on them. So if you choose to have this apply, you can have it apply to your multi-res or new multi-res. You guys are together, that's one, so you would only logical to make that decision together. Or you could choose to do that new construction trigger where it would apply to future builds only. In this one, it doesn't make much sense because then you'd be excluding all your current affordable housing stock. You can give a discount of up to 35%. Unfortunately, the province is not participating, so the education portion is not discounted. The affordability test is quite extensive. You have to meet affordable rent thresholds, and these are actually published by the province. They were originally published in what they call a memo for the development charge exemptions and relief for affordable housing builds. So they're piggybacking on that bulletin. And, the bachelor apartment on a countywide basis is 1,020. That's what they've set for Simcoe. And then it goes up the threshold. They change by local area municipality. It's not countywide, so they change a bit. But these are the kind of rents we're talking about that those units would have to meet. 1,300 to 1,709, depending on where you live in the county, is considered affordable. And then there's also, you can't just give low rents because you're a benevolent landlord. You have to have a legal agreement or requirement to maintain that affordability. So you can be required by a provincial statute or federal statute to provide those low rents, or you can be required under an agreement with a municipality, a board of a municipality, or the service manager. And what the service manager is the government, the local government, municipal government's been designated over geographic area to be responsible for housing. And so you're the upper tier here, so you could have one of your agreements, but you're also the upper tier or the service manager for Barrie and Aurelia. So you have some extraterritorial, those agreements would apply should one of those single tiers adopt it and there was an agreement in place with you as the housing manager, then that would apply. And I do understand Aurelia voted in favor of this yesterday. So what would this mean? What would these subclasses mean? Well, I'm going to just really quickly talk about the earlier one, the municipal discount subclass. This is a tricky one to quantify because it's only future builds. If you adopted that today and I took out a permit tomorrow and then I built the property and I occupied it in 27, that would come on. So instead of trying to guess at what your builds might be, we've just recreated the evolution of your new multi-res class to show you the mechanics of this. And as you'll see, your new multi-res came into effect technically in April of 2017, but you didn't actually have any builds qualifying and taxed until 2019. These are not the quickest builds. It takes a little while to get them online. And then we stated it as you actually taxed in county dollars, and we restated it as if it had been discounted 35%. So there would have been a growing discount provided. I'm not sure that the next 5 years will be the same as the last 5 years, but this kind of shows you how that would come on. One of the things about this is you don't create any initial shocks. We're not moving 2025 or 2026 tax dollars. The affordable housing subclasses, we did model this. We basically identified what we would consider the most likely eligible buildings, and those are ones that are owned by the Simcoe County Housing Corporation, and those with which you have affordable housing partnerships. This sample is probably a little large because you may have a partner who uses, again, part of their building, the entire building, but this is the protocol we used just to get a sense of what kind of scope. And what we'll see here is that, a lot of the buildings are owned. What's interesting, and I pour over your tax data all the time, but I'd never cut it up like this. In the new multi-residential class, so these are multi-residential properties built in Simcoe County with a permit after 2017, almost all new builds are yours and almost all your public housing. There hasn't been a lot of private builds. New multi-res, the county owns 80% of that class. So it's interesting. It tells us who's building properties. So using this model, what we did was we restated 2025. If we had a time machine, we went back, how would things have changed? And on the county levy, we have to remember it's a big levy, over $220 million. This is a fairly small contingent of properties. The impacts are not massive. If you did the minimum, what we're calling the effective minimum of 5%, that would only be $22,000 in county levy shifting. If you did the full, it'd be $155,000. Obviously, those numbers would be a little higher next year, but the magnitude, the percentage changes will be very, very similar in the absence of reassessment. So we see what it would do. Obviously, it's going to give about a 35% discount on the municipal portion to those eligible properties. The shift, the corresponding shift on other properties is quite small, 0.07%. When we add in the local area levies, obviously, they're the larger portion of the municipal tax bill, and so it increases the savings to those properties and the shifts. Now, the shifts will change by local area municipality depending on each one of your property demographics. What are the concentration of eligible properties? So in our study, and this is, you can make this available to local treasurers to look at it, it's a different outcome in every local area municipality. Still, the impacts are not massive. We're not talking about the whole multi-res class, and so a small contingent of properties. A typical residential impact, just so we're not overwhelming presentation with numbers, ranges from, at 5% from 10-cent impact to $1.30 on the average tax bill in municipal taxes, up to, almost $10 in the full discount range. And those vary quite a bit. The other thing we have to consider about this one, and this is complicated, I really waffled whether I should include this, but it is an important point, and maybe not what's on the screen, but what I'm going to tell you. This is not like if you decided to drop the commercial class and you were flowing that benefit through directly to third-party commercial taxpayers. These are properties that you either own or under formal agreement. And this is an illustrative example, but you would, on the county tax, a lot of this would be your own tax bills that you're paying. So the image I sort of came up with in my head is scooping money out of the shallow end and pouring it into the deep end. It's coming off your expenditure and your revenue. So it's not quite the same as, again, dropping that commercial tax rate. And on top of that, a lot of your partner properties, which we did identify differently in the study because they don't have that direct feedback. A lot of that expenditure indirectly is paid by you as well through offset grants that are provided under those agreements. So, that's going to minimize the costs. And then you have the extra complication of the separated cities. And the separated cities, you have, they share in part of that housing budget that pays those tax bills. So the feedback gets even more complicated. And then you own properties in the separated cities. So it's going to get a little complex. But even when we're looking at these numbers, they're not the kind of net impact on the county levy that would say, we're giving 35% off industrial, because that's going straight. A lot of this a lot of this reduction will stay within this building, within your budget. And that means two things. One, it's not as big an impact on the other remaining residual taxpayers, but it also doesn't have as big of effect in the real world. So we want to keep that in mind. I think that there's some political and sort of policy considerations that you want to be aware of. Generally, what do these do? They're all going to send a housing-friendly signal. Their magnitude of impact is how are they targeted? These are targeted towards affordable units compared to the other that is indiscriminate. The tax shifts are going to be modest, and there's going to be some feedback in the county housing budget. Considering the incentive factor, which is something I believe the province wants us to focus on, and that can get caught up here, I think the incentive factor on new construction is going to be very, very modest. While new builders would maybe appreciate it and bringing them into the fold in the affordable housing, they might bring a couple extra units. Well, we'll partner with you on 10 of our 50 units, things like that. I urge you not to think that anybody's going to come out of the woods and build a multi-res building because of a very small tax break. It's not going to happen. They're going to build because there's tenants and we need housing. New affordable housing, maybe not new builds, but again, maybe a way to incent partnerships. And then existing affordable housing partners, and these are things that your housing people are much more able to speak to specifically in Simcoe County, but a lot of our partners were brought in originally because of capital benefits, and those may have expired. So to be able to keep people in the fold in their affordable units, if those historic agreements are coming to term, it could be useful. So there could be some modest incentives there on the affordable housing side. The equity implications, I noted this earlier. I do have a concern with the discount subclass, in that you would just be indiscriminately giving a discount to new builds and that you could not cure that differential. So again, when you had a higher multi-res ratio in the past and then you had the new multi-res, you were able to bring those down, and so everybody was on a level playing field. This discount in Simcoe County could put a new build at, say, 0.65 effective ratio compared to res. You're not allowed to bring your other multi-res down that low. You're at the floor. And that's another point. You guys already have very low ratios. So want to consider about the equity. I think there's a lot stronger argument to give special treatment to a group of properties or units that are delivering affordable housing as a municipality. If a builder, an existing landlord came to you and said, gee, you just gave these guys 35% discounts. They're not the same as you. It's affordable housing versus, well, you built last year, they built this year. So that's something I recommend you think about. Timing and external unknowns. You may or may not be aware that the province set a one-time transitional deadline to adopt for 2026 for the affordable rental housing subclasses. That is September 30th. So Simcoe County would have to pass a bylaw by September 30th. There's some reasons that we want to be cautious of this deadline. Number one, we don't want to ever make a decision. My recommendation to my clients is not to make a decision simply because there's a deadline there. But also, there's some things that we don't know. We don't know what the administrative landscape is going to look like. This is going to be MPAC's job, but it is going to be a lot of transition. I'm not sure if any of you remember when they brought in the small business subclass for farms. It took a long time to actually get those, and this is going to be harder. So we're not going to be issuing any tax bills in 2026 with the roll's not going to be returned with these. There's also another nuance out there. In the same time the province passed this, brought in this new subclass, the court, the appeal court of Ontario was deciding a case on municipal affordable housing exemptions. And that has redefined how the Assessment Act is interpreted. And we are expecting that we will see a significant, or at least some, affordable housing nonprofits, potentially your partners, seeking full exemption when the rolls returned in December. We don't know what that's going to do, but we're watching for that fallout. If the criteria overlap significantly in terms of these subclasses and how that court decision is going to affect interpretation on full exemptions, which would mean not 35%, but no property tax. So it could make the subclasses somewhat moot. We don't know. But, and then, you do have separated cities, which complicates things. My general recommendation is that, especially with the housing interaction, that comprehensive, analysis could be helpful. So what this says, we don't necessarily have a full picture to give you of what this means. So a decision today is a decision without full, complete context. And on my earlier point that a lot of this is your own, shallow end to deep end transfer. If you wait it a bit, you're actually not missing out on much. It's not like you're denying, you're a huge pool of taxpayers a benefit because until more analysis is done, you don't know exactly where that's going to flow and how it's going to feed back. So key considerations that I'm recommending my clients look at, and you'll notice my presentation today is a little bit more in terms of what I think, not just the numbers, because there's a lot of moving parts with this issue. Extent of expectation should be realistic. The equity posed by that 24 class is certainly something you want to look at. There is a strategic potential to attract partners, keep partners in. It depends what else is on the table and how much you're already, contributing to them. There's going to be some transitional challenges for this, for sure. If you're not in a rush, let other people feel the growing pains. And then that provincial deadline, it's there. It's odd. It's a one-time. You can pass a bylaw October 1st if you want. It's just not going to be taxed in 26. So, I would recommend, or I'm recommending not to let that be the sole driver of any decisions.
Thank you, Mr. Freeze. Appreciate your presentation. We'll take questions and comments from Mr. Freeze first, and then we'll go into discussion, Council, starting with Councillor Anderson, please.
Thank you. The simple question, I just want to understand the timeline again on this. So we'd have to pass a bylaw by the end of September for 2026, but that doesn't prohibit us to pass a bylaw next year for 2027 or the year after for 2028.
Through you, Chair, that's correct. And you do not have to set the discounts when you adopt the subclasses. I missed that in my speech. So,
thank you, Mr. Freeze. Councillor Chair Dolan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm in support of the recommendation as printed, the kind of wait and see approach. When Mr. Freeze makes his way back here in March, we can have more conversations then. The whole thing, calling it a discount is a bit of a misnomer because really it's just a shift. Like the pie has to be whole. It's just, if this person gets a smaller piece of pie, someone else pays a bigger piece of pie. So in this case, it's not a lot of money, but it's still a shift. And it can be precedent setting. We were all here, well, some of us were here when the agricultural community was wanting us to give them some relief as well. So I think of it almost like adjusting a traffic signal. A minor tweak by adding 2 seconds to the north-south instead of the east-west can, sometimes you have unintended consequences and you can really gum up the system. So that's another reason I'm in support. I had a question about, you mentioned the city of Orillia had passed this recently. So if the city of Orillia is in favor, to your point about the separated cities making this more complicated, is that shift only felt in Orillia, or is it felt throughout Simcoe County?
Through you, Chair. It depends on where they set their discounts. I'm not sure. I just know that it was on the agenda yesterday. I saw that it was recommended to be passed. If it would be their properties within Orillia, including ones potentially that you own.
Okay, thank you for that. And just a follow-up, if I might. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I was talking to a person who gives affordable rents out to residents and asked from their perspective why this isn't happening more. Why are we seeing purpose-built rentals and affordable rentals in such a decline? And their answer to me was, when you have a tenant, a long-term tenant with who was capped at 0 during COVID, and now it's like 2%, I believe, is the rental cap, and costs for that building, heating and repairs and everything is going up much higher than that 2%. They're basically losing money every year. So where is the incentive for people to build purpose-built rentals these days? And I never really looked at it from that perspective before, so it was interesting. Thank you.
Mr. Freeze?
Through you, Chair. Actually, rent rules don't apply to the affordable, and they actually don't apply to any building built after 2018. So new landlords they're not rent restricted, which is one reason I don't like that municipal discounts class, because it doesn't have to flow through to the tenants. So that's just a little adjustment on that. And as we saw in Simcoe County, when we looked at the new multi-res class, when we break it up by ownership, who's building new multi-res? You're building new multi-res.
Good, thanks, Mr. Freeze. Are there questions, comments? Councillor Ledoux, then Councillor Hamlin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and you, Mr. Freeze. If I'm a builder and I want to build a 100-unit building and I add 7 units of affordability in there, does this tax incentive meet that requirement?
Through you, Chair, yes. If they enter an agreement with, say, the county's housing department to make those official. So not just, hey, got 7 cheap units over here. And that would apply to just those 7 units. And MPAC would apportion the assessment across the class and the subclass.
So just those 7 units, that's what I was really concerned about. Okay. And then just one quick question. When you talked about the highs and lows, that's per resident, correct? The shift is per resident, per unit within our community if we were to shift that. And
through you, Chair, those were just typical single detached res in each community. That was the net impact for illustrative purposes.
Thank you, Councillor. General Manager Faiz Baguette, I believe you had a comment.
Thank you, Chair Evans. Just for clarification on that, being official as a service provider then ties you in to some of the legislative requirements of how those units are filled. So in order to get those certain benefits of like, tax breaks or subsidized rent programs, you have to agree to a certain period of time. Often we set that period of time, but also to how we select people who are placed in those units. And sometimes that could be based on income qualifications, or sometimes it could be based on service or social need, being health-based needs or age-based needs, things like that. So it is important to understand that the service manager role does have legislative authority to do those things. And then again, similarly, part of this discussion on the units that we own and operate, similarly, the legislation applies. And then the last little pitch here is we are presenting to council the new 10-year affordable housing and homelessness strategy that talks about how do we incentivize and create more affordability through different partnerships, whether it's public, nonprofit or private partnerships, and how do we incentivize more development or conversions into affordability. So you'll see that coming to maybe in the next couple of weeks on the agenda.
Thank you, General Manager. Appreciate that. I have Councillor Hamlin and Councillor Bell and Councillor Smith. Councillor Hamlin, please.
Yes, thank you. We had a presentation at Collingwood Council recently from our Affordable Housing Task Force, and they were encouraging us to adopt this, but we heard that the county had to adopt it first. Is that what your understanding is? The county has to adopt it before the local ones can?
Through you, Chair. It is strictly a county decision. Once the county adopts it and sets a discount, that applies to your local area tax rates. Just like the commercial ratio or the industrial ratio, you don't set those, you just set your tax rates in accordance with that discount.
Okay, so just so I understand, what you're saying is we don't have to do this individually? Okay, that's big news for us. Okay, and also, could you share your slides with the council?
Mr. Freeze? Or they will be posted online.
Through you, Chair, just on that point, the question, if I could follow up on something.
Please do, yes.
There is some bad information out there that local area municipalities can pick and choose, and it comes up really fast on Google. So if you have stakeholders that are looking it up, there was some early bad information on that. So it's an honest misunderstanding.
Okay, so if I may, Chair, just another follow-up, but, and so when you did the tax impact then, did you also include the impact on the local tax share, or that was simply the county taxes?
Through you, Chair, we did all of the local levies as well. There's comprehensive analysis with the staff level study that's not part of the council report that I'm sure your local finance staff could, I don't want to speak for the county, but they generally share our staff level studies with the local treasurers, and you could have them show it to you.
Okay, and if I may, Chair, I just have one last question. I'm hearing from some developers, they're expecting big incentives from CMHC for building affordable housing, and they're looking for sites and so on. If to qualify, should the county decide to implement this in due course, would an agreement with the local municipality for the affordable housing work, or would it have to be with the county?
Through you, Chair, those individual agreements, if you had a community partner that you had an agreement with, that could qualify as long as it met the requirements set out under the regulation, and potentially even an agreement with CMHC if it was done under a statute.
Okay, I'll share that. Thank you.
Great. Next, Councillor Hammond. Moving on to Councillor Bell and Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Chair Evans. Thank you for the presentation. I guess a couple of things. I think as a county, I think we need to look at some new opportunities to move the county forward. I think looking at a lot of the builders and developers we're seeing and I've spoke to, they're on hold and there's not a lot happening. I think it's important for us to consider this. If this can get our economy going again, help some of the building construction going again, I think it's bigger than just this tax break. I think this is an important piece in time right now that we're considering. I think affordable social housing, we're at a desperate point where we need more. And I think we need to consider this. It's my understanding GTA is already doing it. Mississauga, Brampton, Markham, Vaughan, Halton region. Have we looked into that during your research? Did you find any of this information?
Through you, Chair. Yeah, I understand the Peel situation is I'm not 100% clear on that. I understand Halton adopted it with that new construction trigger that it would only apply on a go forward. So I'm not totally privy to the advice that was given to those councils. But yeah, I would say there's more caution than going ahead, but I think that this could be a very good tool. Depending on how the flows through works. And I don't know that we know all that yet.
Councillor Bell, I believe General Manager Wilcox has a comment on this.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, through to Peter, can you outline what the ratios are like in those other municipalities, especially Aurelia, I understand, has a much higher multi-res rate than us, and what's your sense for the other ones that are looking to adopt this?
Yes, through you, Chair. There are differences. So we have clients looking at this all over the province, and rather than speaking specifically to anybody, where there are differentials in ratios that we're looking at this tool much different way. For example, we had a county going, I think, next Tuesday. They have a higher multi-res ratio like you did a few years ago, and they're trying to bring it down. If they apply this discount just to the multi-res, they can accelerate their affordable housing down to 1 and then worry about things when it gets to 1. So we want to look, are we looking apples to apples when we're comparing interjurisdictionally? I don't believe a lot of the municipalities that have gone forward with this have a multi-res tax ratio of 1, which means that they are bringing it down. This other county I was speaking out, I believe it's if they bring it down to 27% discount, they will automatically equalize their multi-res, and then they could adjust that discount and deal with it when it gets to 1. So there's different strategic applications, and when you're already at 1, you're creating the 0.65. That's a little different than some of the other, and I don't have Halton or Peel's numbers in my head, but they're not 1.
Great, thanks, GM Wilcox. Mr. Freeze. Vice Chair Smith, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I could be mistaken, but I think I heard that if your building was built after 2018, there's no rent restriction that applies. Did I hear that correctly?
Through you, Chair, that's correct. Now, that would not apply, rent rules don't apply to affordable housing, so this subclass, that's kind of a separate issue, but yes, the province removed the Residential Tenancies Act, the rent rule portion of it, for buildings built after 2018.
So I bring it up because I was really surprised to hear that. And so surprised, I think, no, I got this wrong. I've got to ask this question. I think there's a great number of people, including developers and landlords out there, who are not aware of that. Because I too hear, as Chair Dolan indicated earlier, from developers, when we speak to them about affordable housing, I want no part of it, and here's why. Again, 2%, and everything else is going up more than that. So I think that there may be some education required within the county and the province, for that matter, so that's clear to people, because I think that there are a lot of developers and landlord types out there who are so adverse to getting into the business because they feel there's rent restrictions.
Vice Chair, any other comments? We're good? Okay, Councillor Farrer, please.
Thank you, Chair Evans. And another tight timeline and from the province on something with not much information. So I really appreciated the presentation and General Manager Wilcox's assistance in getting to understand this in a short period of time. I'm a member of the Collingwood Affordable Housing Task Force, and as noted, we had a presentation and we had a short discussion with next to no time to even review the report. So very much uncertainty as we were discussing it. The report clarified, and you've touched on it, about the date, the September 30th is applicable to the county only. The municipality in this particular case is the county, and I know General Manager Wilcox explained why the county tries to ensure, or not tries to, ensures that we have equitable and the same ratios across the board. And then the other important one to me was the one-to-one situation we're already in. My review of it, I looked at, and on average, as far as I can see, generally the multi-res rate in many other municipalities, it averages out to about 170% of the residential. And so you touched on how that gives them the ability to start to ratchet that down quicker, but we're already at 1-to-1. So as it turned out in the report, it indicates that there was about a 35% adjustment to ours. Ironically, it's the same as what they're talking. So that was another important part. The other was the exclusion of existing affordable housing if you put the subclass in place, because it's only new built. So all those things, and the fact that we can revisit it back in when we meet again in March and could implement for 2027 is all excellent information. I had concerns based on my discussions with our task force coming into reading the report, but I really have a lot of confidence now that it is the right, and I'm very supportive of the situation going forward. So the question I was going to ask you, and just to get a clarification, you had mentioned during your presentation that you'd be sharing the model with the local treasurers. So I want to make sure that is the case along with the presentation.
General Manager?
Through the chair, yes, we will share Peter's report with all the treasurers. It's very typical for us to do that, so we'll do that for sure.
That's excellent, and I know then our treasurer can report to council. So again, very supportive of it as the recommendation stands. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Appreciate it. Good discussion. We have a couple more questions. Hopefully, Peter, you're okay. I'll ask a few more. Yeah. Good. Councillor Snell, please.
Thank you, Chair, through you. In regards to qualifying, is there a length of time or term that the developer must offer affordable housing in order to qualify? And should, midterm or mid commitment, they change their mind? What happens then? Is the first question, please.
Through you, Chair. You're getting a little bit out of my area, but I can tell you that generally these agreements are usually like 20 years, sometimes they're 35. And I feel that because we do have some incentives on development charges, some of these agreements may be ones that you structure on that basis. And then this would then capture it, sort of piggyback on that. Most of my clients monitor the rents to make sure that their partners are, but again, that's an internal question.
Councillor Snow, follow? Sorry, General Manager Vice Baguette.
Through you, Chairs Evans. Yeah. Primarily speaking, usually like between 25 and 30-year agreements. There's not often exit clause for the participating landlord. It's often if they're not following with their commitments that we have the opportunity as the service manager to exit them out of that benefit. But, in previous iterations, all prior to 2018, there are legislated and tied to debt financing of developments. So those you're seeing actually come to an end. And we had shared a report with council, and we're bringing back another part of our 10-year strategy addressing the end of operating agreements of that first generation of those agreements. Moving forward, post 2018, it gives the service manager a lot more discretion on the flexibility of the length of term and the level of benefits and the exit options for both parties.
Thank you, General Manager. Councillor Snell, follow?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I think, outside of the county providing affordable housing or any rentals, period, it's investors. And investors, as we talked about at this house before, are scared because of, as Chair Dolan mentioned, increased expenses and operating costs, but also professional bad tenants and a dysfunctional LTB. So I think we have to offer creative opportunities and incentives in order to get these developments going. As a caution, if we did a percentage of occupancy for low income versus 100% of the building being committed to low income, it would be critical for the team to be exceptionally mindful of the placement of tenants. I used to work in this space, and for example, we had an 96 unit building, and 86 of them were general applications and were controlled by the property management company, which were governed by the investors. 10 units were assigned because of an incentive like this to affordable housing, which were placed by city staff. Those placements were sometimes not mindful in terms of the balance of the rest of the building and became very problematic. And so how the investors and the property management responded was by slow playing turnovers. So that piece in any kind of percentage switch, percentage piece would have to be really flushed out so that we don't get slow played in being able to have those placements. Just something to consider. I know it's probably way down a rabbit hole we don't need to go, but.
Good. Councillor Snell, thank you very much. Any further comments, questions for Mr. Freeze? Mr. Freeze, thank you. Not often you have a tax discussion as the #1 longest item discussed in Simcoe County, and I guess it's something that those of us who have taken Accounting 101 would regret. Tax coverage, yes. But in practice, I think seriously the commitment that this council has to enhancing affordable housing and the need that is in all of our communities, and the importance that we put on that. So thank you very much for your discussion today, and look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay, moving on, I'd like to actually, before we get into any further discussion as council, it maybe just might be helpful for everybody if I did, first of all, get a mover and a seconder. Councillor Sandu, thank you. Councillor Walker, seconding. Thank you very much. I'd just like to read the resolution just so everybody's on the same page in terms of discussion. Resolution is that item CCW 2025-234 dated September 9th, 2025 regarding the new multi-residential property tax subclass be received, and that staff report back in spring of 2026 with further information as the impact and administration becomes clearer to assess the potential for implementation of a subclass in the 2027 tax year. I know there was some discussion here in terms of that deadline, and I just want to make sure that people understood the resolution moving forward. So thank you very much for moving a second. I'd just like to add my comments just to kick it off. I see this being an opportunity for us to help retain and subsidize affordable housing in our communities. It's something that when I looked at that one stat and when I was looking at the report, the 80% is owned of affordable housing is Simcoe County Housing Corporation. So 20% that me is really disconcerting. And we've talked about, a number of people have talked about making affordable housing attractive to the private sector. We have to make it competitive. We have to be able to find a way to get money investing just like we do in every other thing in our community. And how do we get to that point? And what can we do to drive that in our area? As the program in my mind sits right now, it's largely, frankly, symbolic. And we're talking about maybe $500,000 in terms of tax revenue. But I think it's something that it does have some negligible, speaking as you saw from the presentation, my municipality being the least impacted in terms of impact. But I think it's very important for a township like, for all of us to realize that even though the direct impact in some of our communities might be very minimal, this is an opportunity to provide affordable housing across the region, and it affects everybody and impacts everybody, even if we don't have those facilities in our areas. And I also think it's important that it shows the province, that all the Simcoe municipalities are working together for the solution, and we're coming up, even though the impacts will be different throughout our individual. We're strengthening our case for future funding and collaboration with the province to solve the problems that come our way. In this case, affordable housing. And what do we do to work together? And I think it's a perfect example of why we're here as Simcoe County, working together to come up with a common solution that helps everybody. So there's my diatribe for today. We'll start off with Councillor Cabral, please.
Thank you very much. And if the House, and through you, Warden Clark, if the House recalls, Springwater Township did provide a letter where we were basically looking to endorse this program, but because the county is the tier one and has to be the one who actually adopts it, we put that forward. And I know during the presentation, one of the key things was this is not going to drive developers necessarily to do it, but I do want to point out that it is one of our developers who brought this before our council. So there is a desire in the development community to provide this type of housing and also recognize that there is this potential for a bit of an incentive on the tax side in order to help them do that. So it is out there. It's not the single motivating factor, but I'm sure it's going to be taken into consideration, as you said, Chair, to provide some incentive to developers to start to get back on board with these types of affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor, and I hope you share some of the discussions we've had today with that person and know that we're working on their behalf. Thank you. Further discussion? Councillor McDonald, I think you had your hand up. No? Everybody's discussed out? Okay, good. Well, great discussion. Great comments. Do I need to read? I'll read the resolution again, just to make it formal, that item CCW 2025-234 dated September 9th, 2025 regarding the new multi-residential property subclass be received, and that staff report back in spring of 2026 with further information as the impact and administration becomes clear to assess the potential for implementation of a subclass in the 2027 tax year. All those in favor? Any opposed? Thank you very much. Good discussion. The motion is carried. Any other matters for performance management? Seeing none, I will pass that back to you, Your Worship.
Thank you, Chair Evans. we're doing okay time-wise. I have 3 items. Is it okay if I carry on? I'm getting lots of nods around there. I'll be mindful of time. If we're going to be more than 15 minutes, I will take a break, or if we require to go in camera then. So what I'll do, 13.1 is now been pulled out of camera, so we can deal with that one and then all the other items separate. So I will put it on the table. Now, it's still in our in-camera agenda, but I understand it'll be posted on the minutes after the meeting. So Councillor Dolan.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I'm sorry this is a bit out of order, but when we had the vote on making this public, the question to the people involved would be, the provincial facilitator has asked that it be kept confidential until all 3 agree. I think I saw that all parties agree that it be released, and I guess I would have the question is, does the provincial facilitator's office agree with releasing this information?
Boy, I don't know where you want me to direct that one. It's public information now, and that's why, so whether they agreed or not, it's been put on the public agenda. Yep. Councillor Corbell.
Yeah, thank you, Warden Clark. The legal opinion was a legal opinion sought by Springwater Council itself based on public documents that were already made available to the legal team and presented to us. And council did initially make it available to the county as well as Oro-Medonte, and recently made it available as a public document. It's on our website as a public document, as well as the summary, and has been referred to in public media as well. So I would say that if the provincial facilitator, it's not the provincial facilitator's legal opinion, it's Springwater Township's legal opinion, and that's what we based the decision on. So I would say that it's out there. I don't see any reason for discussing it in closed.
Thank you. Do I have any questions or comments on the report? I'm not seeing any, so I have a motion that the correspondence dated July 30th, 2025 from Springwater regarding real property matters be received. Moved by Councillor Fryer, second by Councillor McDonald. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Does anybody feel the need to go in camera for the remaining 2 items? I'm not seeing any, so then I will read the motion. The direction in camera and recommendations contained within the confidential item in CCW 2025-224 dated September 9th, 2025 regarding a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by a municipality or local board be approved and voted upon in accordance with section 239 6B of the Municipal Act. Moved by Councillor Van Stavern, second by Councillor Leduc. All in favor? That is carried. And lastly, the direction in camera and recommendations contained within confidential item CCW 2025-226 dated September 9th, 2025 regarding information explicitly supplied in confidence to a municipality or local board by Canada, a province or territory or crown agency or any of them be approved and voted upon in accordance with section 239 6B of the Municipal Act. Moved by Councillor Miskimins, second by Councillor Norris. All in favor? That is carried. And now I will look for a motion that the September 9th, 2025 Committee of the Whole be adjourned at 10:32. Moved by Councillor McDonald, second by Councillor Measures. All in favor? That is carried. Economic Development Chair, what are you thinking? 10:45? That's when ECDF will meet. Thank you.